everybody, welcome on into this week's episode of Howya, Gettin on. And today I am joined by the man himself, the flirt, the sloppy kisser. It is Mr. AwfulGas. Carl, how are you getting on today?
I'm all good. My nerves were gone till about 10 minutes ago, but my good pal Jemison's at that settling me well.
Oh no, honestly, it's great to have you on. I was saying it even to my own community, man, that you're such a positive guy, and I've only got to meet you as well recently, so I'm really looking forward to chatting to you and kind of hearing your background. But before we get into all that, what have you been up to this week? How are you getting on?
This week, I set up my first schedule for stream, and I'm trying to take it a bit more seriously. I felt my schedules were colliding. I was kind of doing stuff on impulse rather than having a little groundwork behind it. And I need to make an attempt on keeping the videos going and the stream. So I'm trying to balance a bit between that. So that's mainly what I've been doing. Done a few streams as well here and there, but mainly psyching myself up for this. Having this absolutely beautiful man in front of me.
I think you're looking at the reflection there, Carl. But yeah, honestly, I gotta ask you. I seen the stream schedule up recently. You've kind of come over to Twitch from the TikTok side, and it looks like you're trying to properly give it a go now. Is this something that you want to pursue with Twitch? You're kind of trying to give it a better knock, or how are you feeling about it?
I haven't a clue what to even call myself. Like, my man still thinks I have a podcast, and I don't. Like, I don't even know what because I don't like being called a TikToker, because I think that just assumes that you dance on TikTok, and I don't want I don't want my brand geared towards that. But I was more into YouTube, and then I kind of moved over to Twitch because YouTube was just fairly enough, they were demonetizing everything on me. Like, it was my own fault. But I always said I'd pick my integrity over money. But at a certain point, you have to look at these things that you're trying to make a career out of, and YouTube just doesn't seem like the place at the moment for it. Even though I like editing, but the streaming I like more because it's you're more one-to-one with your community. Then it's a lot more intimate than YouTube. It's not just a name behind the screen anymore,
Yeah.
Because even with you, even just from being in your chat, I feel like I already know you, and even though we've only chatted once,
Yeah, that's something that, I've talked to a couple of YouTubers, and a lot of them envy Twitch streaming, and I know why. It's because you get to get that connection with people, and you get to suss out your audience more. Like, when you make a YouTube video, obviously the pros is you get to edit the video and it'll stay up on the internet and it'll stay relevant if it's good. But for a lot of the cases, it's like with Twitch streamers, you get to be live with everybody every day, and you get to talk to people every day, so you kind of get more of a connection. Do you feel like with YouTube and stuff, there's kind of a bit of a bit of a disconnect between your viewers?
Yeah, 100%. Because I feel with YouTube, there's a paywall behind having that intimate relationship with them, the whole members thing. And I've even told people who watch me videos not to buy the members thing, because it's the stupidest thing. Like, you get nothing for it.
Yeah.
But and I think just because the whole live aspect of Twitch, it's happening on the spot. You're chatting to on the spot. It could be hours before you get back to a comment, and it's not really in the heat of the moment. And they're getting more of a premeditated answer earlier rather than one on the spot,
Yeah. Like, even the way you said it to me, you were like, you feel like you already know me from chatting to me. I feel like the same with you, and it's like you get that human interaction through Twitch streaming, and like I said, I feel like that's why a lot of YouTubers eventually come over to Twitch, because they're like, right, realistically, you can get day-to-day revenue from it as well. You're not waiting on a YouTube video to do well, and obviously you can talk to your community. But with that being said, you started on this whole scene where your videos are it's in your name, it's AwfulGas here. You're all about wit, you're all about comedy, and you're all about calling people out and kind of having jokes and a laugh. Where did this all start?
So last year, around April, I always wanted to do YouTube. I remember I had one of those OG HD PVRs, the things that were like a cassette player, big things. Couldn't figure it out. I always wanted to do videos as early as I could remember, but I was always worried about people in my actual circle finding out, and I felt exposed by that, and that I would be exposed by that, and I kind of shied away from it. But last year, the reason that it all happened was I lost my grandmother last March, and I think when you're going to go through some existential vacuum like that, it puts a lot into perspective, and it gives you a real view on how short life is, and you may as well take these chances and stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, here, I'll get the bleeding capture card anyways. 150 quid was a lot of money to spare at that time as well. But I said, fuck it, I'll go for it. And I done a Rocket League video. We made Connor Chillaxinator. I think he's in the chat there. And then I always wanted to do the subtitle stuff, because I used to watch Fitz and Swagger Souls, and I liked how I watched their videos, and I liked how the different color subtitles, because I found it very when you're trying to watch a new group of YouTubers, it's hard to differentiate which one is which.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the colored subtitles I thought was the most genius thing in the world, and how you can add this whole new layer to your videos when you do it. So off the bat, my first videos were the subtitled ones. And I think like the fucking second one I put up got like 40K, and I was like, oh shit, I might be onto something here. I was like,
Yeah.
I might actually go, because I'm not really confident. I need a lot of validation to keep at something, and that was like plenty to keep me going. I got addicted to it then, and I started doing TikTok, and then about a week later, I made me YouTube, and then I think around summer I made Twitch, but I didn't really stream properly until like November-ish, like
Mm.
when I done the 12-hour stream.
Yeah, you've really blown into it though, like, and I feel like you've really found your own. But I think that the comedy aspect of it is so good, and the way you were saying, like, you're watching like the Swagger Souls who do these videos where it's all about, you know, the guy behind the camera making the comments and stuff like that. You mentioned as well about your friends, and you felt like you were being exposed. Something that I love talking to my community about is, you know, when they make content, who they tell, and kind of what the response is. How did you find your mates responding to your content?
Me, do you know what? Really well. Like the idea I'd built up in my head was completely blown out of proportion. I think in Ireland we definitely have this view that everyone is like out to get you, and you have notions when you go into this stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I've
yeah.
found when I actually took that leap that people actually appreciate that you're going and you're actually trying to like seek something out. And it might only be now, that attitude might have only changed now, and I might benefit from that. But when I was younger, I think when I was in school, I got that idea because then it was definitely you had notions if you tried anything like that. But I think it's a lot more normalized to put like videos of yourself on the internet now. So I think people are just being desensitized to it. But all my friends were really happy for me and very supportive. Like I didn't have any like naysayers, and if I did, I wouldn't have fucking listened to them anyway.
Yeah, yeah, because I know it's a common thing as well. You know, when you start off content creation, and especially for younger people, I feel like when you're of the age, when you're in your teens and you're uploading online, there's always, like you said, that notion of, you know, people being like, oh, you know, what are people going to think if they see this and they see that? But if you have that mindset of like, you know, I don't really give a shite, it's kind of the best way to go about it. And obviously, by your content, going back to square one, your videos have done crazy. I have to ask you as well, like you were saying, your second video got 40K. I don't think I've known anybody who has had like a 0 to 100 as you. Like I remember when you first started coming up my timeline, you were everywhere on the TikTok, man. I'd skip a couple of videos and you were there again giving shite to some lad online. How did you like react? I know you said you were happy with it, but that must have been like a mad boost for you, like at the very beginning.
It was because I think when you jump off that quickly, like when you're straight out of the trap, there's a lot of pressure on you to keep that momentum,
Yeah.
and it's very, very disheartening when you don't get it. And I had done relatively well up until about October, and I got shadow banned off TikTok, and like from getting like I wouldn't get anything less than 10K, and then I was getting like 800 views after 2 days and stuff, and I'm like, fuck, because even though
Yeah.
you know it's a shadow ban, you're still blaming yourself, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making shit content, like it's a lot of pressure, like, but the the response that I've got to it has been like fucking amazing because I'd always expected, especially with Twitch, I thought that my community from the videos that I'd made would have been a load of edgy 15-year-olds, but
Yeah.
I actually have a really good attitude in the chat, and I told them early on it's everyone's responsibility to set the tone for that, for what's okay and what's not okay, and they've really adapted to that really well. And even though they're like spooky cunts, they're still like they're a bit of crack like and all, but like I can bounce off that, like I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's something that you've pointed out now that I really can appreciate, because I know a lot of edgy content creators, man, and they say some stupid shite, but you definitely have an air of respect about you, where it's like I feel like even in your Twitch chat that you've set the tone, and you know that lads have a certain level of messing about, like, because obviously in your videos you go on to some mad topics that I can't even talk about on Twitch. So you know it's good to see that. But you're talking about being shadow banned there. Well, what's the crack with that? Because I was going to ask you, have you ever gotten in trouble with TikTok kind of over some of the videos that you've had? And obviously you had, so what happened there?
I haven't a clue. I couldn't even put my finger on what video it could be because someone could see that video from like a year ago and then report that, and that could be the one. I had a few videos reported. I appealed all of them. They were all sorted. It was all grand. I don't know how, because I'm not even going to say on the podcast what I said in one of those videos or what one of the lads said in it because it was heavy. I know they appealed that and they gave it back to me, but I don't know. They just out of nowhere, they just like stopped putting me stuff on the For You page, and
Yeah.
that went on for like a month or like month and a half, and That's a long
Jesus.
time. You just have to post your way out of it, and I just had to keep
Yeah.
posting every day, even though I knew no one would see them and all. But I couldn't put my finger on what exactly it was. But it was fucking it's fucking rough because I didn't do streaming then. I never looked into it.
You've no other
I
outlet,
only
kind
done
of.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot like TikTok was a really good ego boost for me because it's I know the big difference from YouTube to TikTok, um, view wise and stuff. I know that like 2K views on YouTube to me means a lot more than 60K on TikTok. But
Mm.
TikTok was a good way of funneling people over, and I completely lost that because they'd done it. Like,
Yeah. That's crazy because I know people talk about shadow bans, but they can really affect you, especially with the likes of TikTok. TikTok's had a mad boom even from the get go. Do you see TikTok going everywhere? Obviously, when you're branding yourself, you gotta realistically go on social media and YouTube and everything else, even like Twitch. Do you see TikTok sticking around, or do you see it going the same way as Vine?
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be. I'm just enjoying it while it's there. To be honest, I've never regarded the following I've had on TikTok as anything because like it was literally just a way. It's what everyone uses. It's a way of funneling people to social media you
Yeah.
actually cared about or the stuff you're trying to make a career out of. And it was the best tool for growth that I could ever even imagine. Like nothing in this world would be able to push me the way that TikTok could. But them things do end up driving themselves into the ground. They're not very
Mm.
sustainable, and it gets to a point where they'll do what Vine did, and they won't do there's gonna be another app that'll come along, and it's just about getting on that app as soon as possible and getting your name out there, it's
Yeah.
none of these social media stick around. They're doing a good job of it, but, like, none of them are ever gonna stick around forever, like, and you kinda have to be aware of that especially when you're trying to do what we're doing, like.
Yeah, like I know a lot of content creators that stick on one thing, like their Twitch or their TikTok, whatever, but it's terrible. Like if you're going to be a content creator and you want to give it a proper go, you need to start branching out. Like even the amount of people when Mixer was around, that was going to be the next Twitch, and
That thing, yeah.
that went in a fucking heartbeat, man. When Mixer was at the start of its kind of prime and getting into it, would you ever think about jumping over?
No, because when it came out, that was in me time where I felt that I have notions. But I remember Mixer came out, and it was on the Xbox dashboard, and I had grown up with people with PlayStation my whole life. Oh yeah, we have this exclusive, that exclusive. So I was like, yeah, fuck you, we have our own streaming platform, and it was dog shit. They signed Ninja, and they still couldn't keep it alive. Like it was so bad. Like
Yeah, and I don't know what they were thinking, and obviously they were trying to up Twitch, but yeah, Twitch really have the monopoly with it. Going from from the TikTok and looking at your options, because obviously Mixer was probably gone by the time you were properly at that stage where you're like, right, I want to process some of these viewers over. Have you ever looked at YouTube streaming? Because I know a lot of people contemplate that as well.
no, like I don't know. I think Twitch has everything in order. Like I think even from like the basics of it, I think the whole layout of it is a lot nicer, a lot more cleaner than YouTube.
Hmm.
YouTube for me is a platform I go to watch fully finished videos. It's not one I go to watch live streams on.
Yeah,
Like when I
yeah.
think of live streams, I think of Twitch, and I think the vast majority of people do too. And I wouldn't expect people to carry over. And not only that as well, everyone's favorite streamer is on Twitch. Like I know that as someone who like consumes content on Twitch as well, I'd be ignorant to say that the people who watch me stick around in me stream for the whole thing because I don't do that with anybody.
Yeah,
If someone
yeah.
else comes on, I'll pop in, say hello, stick around, maybe pop back in and out. If they're on YouTube, they're not going to see any of those people coming up. So it's about having the variety of people who are on it as well as how well laid out the platform is. And in my experience too, like talking from like a financial standpoint, they put a lot of incentives into supporting your creators, which
Yeah.
is like a huge boost. Like I said, like, fucking YouTube tried to mock it with the members thing. It's their version of subs, but it's just not as good. It hasn't got the same like vibe to it as
Yeah,
what the subs does.
no, it's not the same pop at all. And I completely agree with you. Like I love Doctor Disrespect, but man, when he went to YouTube, I don't have a look at him. It's just because like this is where I go for live streams, like you're saying. When I'm on YouTube, the odd time I'll click on his live, but yeah, it's like Twitch is the place to go for that kind of live interaction. I know you mentioned like the Swagger Souls and some of these guys earlier that you looked up to. Kind of before content creation and before properly getting into, was there anybody you looked at alongside the likes of Swagger who you were like, oh, I want to replicate that. That's what I want to do.
It would have been Fitz was the main one. Fitz was like the big one.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time that my friend showed me him because it wasn't only that as well because I felt with them they were kind of the early on like Australian, New Zealand
Yeah.
content creators, and I think they done the same approach what I done with subtitles. Was it's a way of making your content international for people who might not understand the accent. And like I said as well, with the whole subtitles thing, it wasn't intimidating to watch a whole new group of people, because I was like, oh, this person is the blue subtitles, this person's the red, and it was a lot
Yeah.
more easier to consume. And I was just taken away with it. Was the first time I'd watched the content creators videos that I realized that content generally can be shit, but if you're good at editing and you know your shit with editing, you can make
Yeah.
anything funny. There's a fella on TikTok who has 4 million followers who slices bread to a beat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it is down to how like you can make a funny out of anything as long as you have
Yeah.
like your niche and they were like the first people that I'd seen anyways, with the whole like the popped in subtitles and stuff, and really stimulating videos. Like they'd be 10 minutes, but there'd be no gaps in the talk, and it's non-stop. Like there's no reason to turn off because you're constantly, it was like TikTok but 10 minutes, like before
Yeah,
TikTok was
yeah.
the thing.
I was only saying to one of the lads literally earlier today, bro, that I'm like looking at studying YouTube now because I'm trying to understand the platform before I start making proper videos on it. And man, the content nowadays that keeps you enticed, it's literally like you're saying, it's TikTok on steroids, bro. It's like bam, 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 bam. There's no hemming and hawing. There's no nothing in between, and it's mad interactive. Like I watched a fucking guy build a real life Minecraft figurine just because he was so snappy with it, and I was like, man, I can't stop watching. I can give a shite about Minecraft, man, but I'm gonna keep watching him. Do you find like editing, like, is that something that you feel like you got the hang of, or do you feel like you kind of got the hang of it pretty quickly on?
No, I have a very, very rudimentary understanding of editing software. Like I'm looking out to do courses now because I know realistically I need that edge on people, and
Hmm.
me videos do take a long time to make, but it is just because of the subtitles, and I
Yeah.
need a lot more than that. I didn't even want to look at After Effects because the idea of it scares me that there's a whole nother set of software there with a
Yeah, no,
completely different set of rules. Like, and I don't even know Premiere Pro that well. I know keyframe, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And I've been getting away with it for a while now. So
no, I don't think you'd be caught out soon. Your content is really the funny bit of it, man. Like even if you didn't have subtitles, man, it's just obviously Irish people can understand it a lot more, so you don't really need that separation of text like you're saying with colors. But it's fucking gas. With that being said, though, before content, man, what was it like? Like, what was Carl's life? Because I don't know anything about you prior to you bursting onto the scene.
Well, like up into school, like school was generally okay for me, and I didn't really have anything out there. I ended up leaving school earlier, and it was only like a few months before me leaving, but I kind of
Yeah.
stopped showing up into school. Me parents divorced when I was in fourth year, and it was kind of a messy situation, and
Okay.
it definitely inflicted how I performed in school, because up until third year, like I was really good at school, really good at getting my head in the books, and I just couldn't do it. Me head wasn't in it, so I was like, right, if I'm not going to school, then I'll start working. So when I turned
Yeah.
18, I done a thing. The social welfare had it was called Jobs Bridge, and they got rid of it as soon as I finished it because they said it was the equivalent to slave labor.
Jesus Christ.
I was getting 100 quid before that. I was on the social welfare, and I was on €100 a week. And then they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you get an extra 50 for doing 40 hours a week." And I was like, "All right, it's an extra 50," because I didn't understand money. Um,
Yeah.
I worked in a kitchen then.
Jesus.
It was a fucking nightmare. I wanted to be a chef, never want to be one again after that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
working there for a while, had a bad experience there, so I left, and then I've been working in the job that I'm working in now, which is in retail up until now. And outside of that, I was chatting to me stream like about it the other day. I have a track record of like bad mental health, and I kind of slip in and out of like depressions and have an anxiety disorder as well. And that was definitely a factor in me not pursuing this earlier than I did, because it really freaked me out, the idea of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I had that like eureka moment where I kind of pulled myself out of it. But like the past year, I've had like a lot going on in that as well. But I've been fairly able to stay on top of it, because now I have a thing where it's not like this is something that I'm trying to pursue as a job, but it's more of a passion to me now. And I know that
Yeah.
there's people like actively waiting on me stuff. So the past year, in comparison to the past like 5 or 6, when I don't even know when I left school now, but has been like extraordinary. Even though it's probably been one of the toughest years for stuff that's happened in my personal life, I've had so much going on that's made me future look like a lot better. So it's been a really like progressive year for me. And I think, yeah, like between like since I left school up until now, I was like doing fuck all really. Like I was just floating around, not really
Yeah.
knowing where my head was at and all. But I have a good vision of what the future looks like now. So it feels good to have that. It's a real weight off your shoulders when you actually find something you love.
Yeah, no, man, that's such a fantastic story, dude. And I hope anybody listening in can take from that as well. That there's always something to look forward to in life, and there's always something to kind of keep your head at. And even your situation, man, it's so inspiring. Like coming from a family passing and kind of using that to propel, being like, right, I got to give this a go now. I don't want to wait around. That just shows the kind of person you are, and that you're willing to kind of delve yourself into it and give it a go, man. So honestly, major props to you, man. Coming through a lot of situations there and coming out in a positive mindset is very, very good. With that positive mindset, every video I've seen, man, I'm always in bits laughing. You boys come out with some mad lines, man. For your early videos to now, is there any lines that for you like were like a go-to where you looked at and you were like, man, that one is the line right there? Like, any favorites?
When I was cutting over them. Like when I was editing the videos, Jesus. There was one, and do you know what? I didn't really get, because like you never really know when you throw this stuff out what's gonna go well with other people. But there was this great bit we had in the Warzone video, and we were playing with Steel, and we told him to spell out hoop, and we just gaslighted him into believing that he was spelling it wrong, and like he was, I fucking sobbed at that clip so much, and it didn't really get that much recognition, but it just hit me well, and like I had it out where it was like when he was spelling it, I had in the video like HOOP and all this stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, are you for real and all that. I was just giving him shit for the whole thing, and I was crying laughing when I was doing it and all. I gotta stay out. She was like, I'm after getting it on Google. I know that I'm not spelling it wrong, and I was just loved the idea of gaslighting him so bad he had to search hoop on fucking Google. But everyone else's is always like with fucking, you see them there, the Magnums in the chat, the fucking suck the bank. That's not even mine, that's Terrence's. Or take a flute out of your dog before you speak to me. Some people like that one as well. So
oh my god, no, some of them are fucking gas, man. And to be honest, like they're lines that like I haven't like heard before, but I don't know, you boys, it's just like it's I don't know, it's so natural. I think that makes it, what makes it so funny is the shit you come out of. A lot of
that I cannot take credit for that though. Like I'm not joking. Like there's a lot of bad aspects to growing up in a working class area, but there's some really good ones here. And oh my god, like I've always said, I'm not doing anything special. There's people, and you kind of get imposter syndrome from it because there's people doing 10 times better than me. I'm only recording it and editing it, or else I'm streaming it. I know people who would make a mint doing what I'm doing, and a lot of the stuff that I have taken from them, like a lot of the fucking slag is like, some fella said that I had a Google eye, and I said that if he cried, the tears would roll down his back. Like I got that off someone in school. Like, or like your eye is like a marble in a bowl as well. Like these just crackers, these just short, quick crackers. Like, and like I can't take credit for that.
Oh my god, dude! Honestly, these are so good. I'm fucking crying right now, man. Oh my god, this is too good. Jesus Christ!
Oh, your man makes stew on that belly button. That was a good one as well. That was one of my favorites as well. That was a fellow I went to school with.
Man, oh, they're actually so good. They're so original as well, man. But a lot of this came from like, at least a lot of your early clips and even till now, obviously, Call of Duty. Do you reckon a lot of this kind of behavior that you guys kind of have in your videos, that it's spurred from, your Modern Warfare lobbies back in the day, or where do you feel like it comes from?
Definitely, because I think that's just your relationship with one. Like my first ever game that I like lost my life to was Modern Warfare 2. Like that, it was disgraceful. Like I didn't think I could spend that much time in a game, and that stuff definitely gears you towards it. But I've always said it, whenever I'm in it whenever I go into them videos with my mates on recording, I have one moral, and that's don't start on anybody. But as soon as someone starts, rip them to shreds.
Go for it, yeah.
And that's me only moral, because I can't just pick on somebody because it's not like right and it's not funny. And I just feel bad over it as well. But when someone starts at me, that gets me going. Like that fucking that video that I had, the bleeding salty search too. I was drinking whiskey during that. I was full of it. I was ready to rock. I was, and then a few of them got on my nerves during it, and I was only ready for it. But the whole, you even know yourself, like the fucking COD lobbies back, like 2014, 13, they were different raving.
Ah,
Like
yeah,
they'd put a skin on you, like, and you had to be quick because then you got battered. Like, and there's this whole
yeah.
you feel some sort of social exclusion if you don't have a thing to say back to them, even though it's just a load of mucks popping in the lobby. Like, you feel that, like,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true, man. Honestly, I miss those days, and there's so many times on the podcast I keep bringing up about how old school gaming was really it, man. There's like no holds barred. You just go in and you talk a lot of shite. But has anybody like? Obviously, I know when you started off, a lot of it would have been scaled towards Irish people. Have you ever gone to a COD lobby and someone's like, "Oh, it's your man"?
once, yeah, it was in my last video. There was these two Dublin fellas on our team, and it was a bit where some fella kept breathing into the mic, and I was giving him stick out of that and all, and I was telling him to fucking use the force to take the thing out of his nose because he fucking sounded like Darth Vader. Um, and then he was like, "Oh, you sound like AwfulGas," and I was like, "Yeah, it is. What's up?" Like, I don't know what to do in them situations.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was the only time that had happened because I don't really play COD that much anymore. But I met. Oh no, there was another time as well where someone said, "Just like, oh, I love you, bro." It's always this thick Dublin accent. Love you, bro. I was like, I love you too, bro. But it's sick. It's so cool running into shit like that. Now, if it happened in real life, I'd run the other way. My social anxiety would not let me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. But one thing I want to know as well is like, has anybody ever been on the opposite side of your video and who's came in and commented, being like, "Oh, I'm your man," who was getting a bollocking? Has anybody from the opposite side come into you?
Yeah, on TikTok. Oh, fuck, what was it? Buzzkill was his name, and I don't think I can say it. I said I'd do something to his nanny, and he just commented a lot with a laughing faces on it because someone was tagged. That's my group of mates and all. I was like, "Oh yeah." And then he comments on a lot with a laughing face, and I goes, "Fuck off! Is that you?" And he didn't even reply to me the next one. Like,
Man, here's you. Oh man. That is gas. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, you must get lads absolutely fuming at you. Would you get like much messages after you kind of have a session like that, or does it usually end in the lobby?
No, not really now because I was playing that on PC, so they haven't really got a way of getting through to me. Do you
Yeah,
mean like
actually,
if it
yeah.
was through like the Xbox messages or something
Yeah,
like?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah, nah, because if I was on Xbox, I don't really get that on COD. FIFA now, FIFA's one where you get that. People are descriptive in how they want you to die after scoring a little sweaty going on them in FIFA. Like, I've never experienced anything like it. But COD not so much. Like, but there was one time where I was giving people grief, and I was chatting to the lads in the lobby. We went back into another game, and we got into the same lobby as them again, so I had to go all over again. It was like, right, round two.
Oh, that is brilliant, man. But with some of the games you played, I know on stream recently you hopped over to GTA as well, and I think RP suits you to the absolute ground. But was there any other games like with FIFA and things like that you started playing alongside COD when you were like in your teens and even till now?
Fuck, COD and FIFA are the only ones that I remember like that I like obsessively played. Like I had to stop playing FIFA because I had 3 holes in me wall because of it. Like there's something put into that game I just can't control. I don't know how you play that all day. I freak, like I take it personally when someone scores on me, like, and I had to just stop playing it. And I was and because I was spending all my money on it as well. I'd get like birthday money and I'd spend it all on Microsoft points, and I'd have an ultimate team that would be gone in about 2 months or something as well.
Yeah.
And then COD was like obsessive for me though, like every day. Like when I was in school, Modern Warfare 2 was the first COD that I had. When I finished school, all day until I had to go to sleep. During the summer, I did not go out once that summer. I played it over so I got it in like I think the April. And by the time I was back in school, I had 35 days played on it. Like that.
Yeah,
and that
Jesus Christ.
sickening. I had other games sprinkled in there, like you'd play like Saints Row and like GTA and stuff like that. But they would be the big ones that are fucking not Elden Ring. What's it? Skyrim. That was a big one for me as well.
What a game! Yeah,
I was flat on Skyrim too. Like,
yeah, you get lost in that one. With GTA, how are you finding that? Because I know, I was talking about doing RP for a while, and that's how I noticed you were on it as well. And I know you had a little gang walking around with you and all. Like, how are you finding the whole roleplay server and kind of adapting your personality to it?
Honestly, it's not like I get it's really fucking weird because it's the same if I play VR chat. I get really bleeding anxious when I'm trying to talk to a group of people and it and stuff. Because like it's different in a COD lobby when someone's giving you a grief, it's easy to bounce off that, but it's hard to like I find it hard to interact with people and I've been a bollocks on it because when I went on it, I just want to make money on it. I'm not even looking at the chat. I'm there like drilling bricks and all so we can make jewelry out of it. And everyone's just dipping out because I'm not looking at the chat or talking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
lads, give me a sec. I just need 5 more bricks and I swear to God, I'll look at what you're saying. I just need it. But I think I'll find a balance with it. But I think the whole basis of RP is definitely it's definitely suited to me content and what I'm like there for. It's finding those like random interactions with people and stuff and kind of
Yeah.
bouncing off that. And I can definitely get better at bouncing off people in a positive way because my whole brand is being built off like giving people stick. And I
Mm.
even said that that's not something I'm gonna pursue forever because it's not sustainable to be fucking toxic all the time. And although I wouldn't regard it as toxic a lot of the time, because but people aren't seeing the backstory to it or what they're saying first or what
Yeah.
coaxes you into it. But at the end of the day, like I do want to get to a point. It was a good thing to build a platform off, but I do want to build something that's based more on being positive and kind of just diversifying the stuff that I put out instead of like
Yeah.
putting myself to one thing because it's like even with Warzone when I was playing that, it's very fucking hard to shake the Warzone viewers without them asking you every 2 seconds you're playing
Yeah.
Warzone in your chat. Like, no, it's shit. It's been shit the past 6 months. Like, why? Like,
Yeah. With that being said, like I like the foresight you have there where you're like, listen, it's not sustainable because obviously, you know, there's a certain point where you're going to grow and you're going to hit that barrier where it's like, right, it's like, so some creators do it where they go full time into kind of, you know, treading that line, but then obviously they stop themselves reaching out to getting brand deals and this and that. And then there's the other side of it of like you're saying, building a platform off it. Where do you see yourself and kind of the content you're making then in a couple of years' time? Let's say if you were to transition from what you're doing now into something that you'd prefer long term.
I think like something that's like coming up in the near future, and this is a little exclusive that
Oh
you're getting
yeah,
now.
go on, chat.
So I have this little thing. I have this show planned with Bisto Bob, the man himself.
Mm-hmm.
During the summer, we have this idea to go around Ireland and go into like haunted houses and gaffs and asylums and stuff and make a video out of it because he believes in ghosts and I'm a skeptic. So I think it'll be a good balance to it. And no one else is really doing that. And you can add a good twist to it. And I got that idea from like Joe Weller and his videos. I loved
Yeah.
his like searching abandoned places videos and stuff. So I think it would be a nice way of doing IRL stuff and kind of diversifying what I have now because I think the real future of you getting your name out there is definitely IRL stuff. I think the
Yeah.
the game and stuff has a cap unless you're like really, really, really fucking good at it. Like not good at the games. I just mean like you're like the most elite of the elite, or else you get yourself into a circle of YouTubers who are already really successful. It's hard.
Mm.
Other than that, you need to find a niche and something no one else is doing, and that's what I'm trying to look towards doing now. Like
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, and you definitely have the personality for YouTube. If you're doing IRL stuff as well, man, I think that's only power to you. But that sounds class. I'm even excited to hear that, man. I think that's a really, really good idea. And there you go. Any listeners in that's a fairly exclusive. No, expect that this summer.
we'll get Gara on for one.
I tell you, man, I
Little
love that.
spooky
I
gaff.
love, man, I'm obsessed with horror. Like, I love horror. I love this whole thing.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I was literally going to ask you the same question, man. For me, like, it's a weird one. I feel like I do. But like I'm such a logical person, right? I'm really, really logical. Like I need an answer for everything. But there's some things that I just feel I can't explain. So that's where I'm at with it. So I think there's something. If it's in the form of a ghost, I'm not sure. Where are you at with it?
I used to when I was younger. I was obsessed with them. Like everything I watched was ghost related, all this paranormal stuff, and at some point my logic got the better of me and I'm like, there's no real reason for me to believe any of this is real or true. And I
Yeah,
hate that because I'm not a religious person. I don't really believe in an afterlife or any of this spiritual stuff. And I think that I just got too like cynical and logical from young because I really liked the idea of ghosts. Added this
yeah,
whole aspect to the world that was really cool. And now I'm like, I'm not gonna believe it if I don't see it. But I think that's a good mindset to go into doing something that I'm doing with that thing because if I go in there and I hear something spooky, like
yeah,
the thing is with me, if I go in there and I hear something, my fear is that there's another person in there, not a ghost. So like that would be my biggest thing. But
yeah.
I want to get scared. I want to believe in that again and get freaked out by stuff. So that's what I'm kind of trying to like that's why I'm going in as a skeptic, and I'm hoping to come out as a believer. But I really wish that I still believed in it, because I got such buzz off the idea of ghosts and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was a lot easier for me to settle that there was a ghost in my room instead of a fucking mouse, because I think I'm more scared of mice than I am ghosts, and now I can't even use a ghost as an excuse anymore.
Yeah, I get that, but like, have you ever had any weird things happen to you in life that you can't explain, or any experiences with ghosts even?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Literally nothing that had come to mind. I made up situations to make a story over sometimes, but they weren't real, and like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah, I can't. There was only one, like, it wasn't like a scary thing or something, man. Like, I can't really. It was the maddest thing ever. And what the stream I was doing a few weeks ago in honor of me mate who passed away from cancer. I was at his funeral, and I like, obviously he'd be bleeding, sobbing my eyes out, however. And it was really weird. Like, I was like bent over me head in my hands, and I got this mad warm sensation all over me back, and just clicked out of it straight away. Didn't feel sad anymore. Didn't feel upset. That was the only thing that I can't
Wow.
explain. Weirdest thing ever. Like, here, if you're Irish, you've been to 50 funerals. People drop like flies here. Like, that was the only time that I've ever been at one, and something like that has happened to me. I felt something like that, and so that's the only thing I've never been able to explain. I've never felt like a ghost has been in front of me or anything, but that would be the only thing that I'd have ever felt like supernatural, if you'd call it that. Like,
Yeah, that's mad, man. I've heard a couple of stories off like family and stuff, and I feel like everybody knows somebody that has a story, but you question the legitimacy of it a lot of the time. You're like, yeah, did you really, or did you actually see that, or whatever. My brother had a mad story recently. It's only a couple of months ago. Now this just could be a weird person, or it could be a ghost. I don't know what it is, but he was running. He was jogging down near this canal, and it was at night time for some reason, right? And he was jogging, and there's like one side. He was on one side of the canal, and then obviously there's another, and then there's a footpath on the other side as well. So he's kind of going on both sides. He's on one side, and there's another side. As he's going down, he noticed this woman on the other side, and she's like all in white. It looks like she's in like a wedding dress, right? Yeah, I know, it sounds mad, right?
why is it always a woman in a white dress as well?
It
It's
always
so
is.
terrifying. Like,
It always is. But listen, he's going on his jog, and he's running, and he said he stops when he's parallel to her, right? And she's on the other side. She's wearing like a headgear and all, like, and a big white dress. It's weird or whatever. And he said he stopped parallel, and he looked over at her, and she like turned and looked at him as she stopped, and he ran back home. He sprinted back home, and he was like, man, that was fucking weird.
fuck
And
that.
I was like, yeah, I was like, listen, my brother is not a bullshitter, so I was like, man, that's like,
that's the worst when you hear from a reputable source. That's what's terrifying. Like,
it's like,
because even if you've had like none of your own experiences, you hear from someone you trust, you're like, fuck, that might be like, they've no reason to lie about that. Like,
no reason at all.
why is always a woman in a white dress? What is it? Are they handing them out at the pearly gates or something? Like, where you go, whack that on you and throw your fucking hair over your face while you're at it? Nah, bollocks. That I hope I see something like that. I want that harrowing experience that'll change me. Though, but until then, I'm not sold on it at all.
Yeah, like this is what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like it's a thing where you need to experience it yourself to fully know what's going on. My only one experience, with having something firsthand that I couldn't explain, this is so weird, and I wasn't scared in the moment, but when I tell the story, I told it to the chat before as well. They were like, "That's a bit weird." So one night I was sitting in my room, on the PC. I think I was doing Photoshop or something. Right? It was about 3 a.m. Of course, it's 3 a.m, man. Typical story, you know the deal. So I noticed a bunch of noise coming out of me right ear, like towards where the window is, and I'm like, what is that? So I lift one ear cup off, and I'm like, I can hear like a racket like outside, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? And I put my head out the window, and there's like, I can only describe it as an absolute like madness of noise. It was like, sounded like fucking 15 or 20 dogs barking, and it sounded like a bunch of kids in the playgrounds. I know this sounds so stereotypical, but trust me, like 15 dogs barking, there's like a load of kids in the playground, they're all like laughing and cheering and shit, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I hearing? And then, as I said, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like a Tuesday night as well, dude, so it's not like a weekend thing. I live in an area, like, I'm rural, I'm in Cavan, so trust me, like I'm in like a retirement area. There's nothing like that at all around me at all. And I'm listening to it. I'm leaning out the window and I'm like, should I record this? Like, I didn't know kind of what to do. And I listened to it for about 2 minutes. And then literally, in 1 second, it's like, suddenly all the audio cuts. But like, you know, I work with audio a lot and I've done video work throughout the years. It cut like it was playing off a tape player. It wasn't like it echoed out. It just went like that and it was gone. And I was like, what have I just heard? And you know dogs. You know dogs as well, man. Dogs don't suddenly just stop and they're done. I was like, yeah. This is weird though. See, I was more intrigued. I wasn't even scared. I was listening to it and I was like, man, what the fuck did I just hear? But
what you mean you were only intrigued, boy? I'd run out of the I wasn't scared. How can you not be scared by that? Dude, I lived beside a zoo, and if I heard that, I'd be shitting it. I was in here with my mates, right? A few of my mates came around, and the zoo was like literally like it's like less than 100 meters from me Dublin Zoo.
Yeah,
and it's normal for me because the wolves are in there. When the wolves start howling, all the dogs in the area start doing it. And we were outside and we were out on me decking and they all went off at one time. You're just hearing the howling out of them. I have never seen people go so white in my life. They start getting in their own head and all. We were having a few drinks, so it didn't help. And they were like we were only starting the night. And they all left me gaff because of it. They got that spooked. They left it. You're in the middle of Cavan. You have no excuse to be heard in that, bro. That's fucked. I'd be gone. My taxi hour have fucked.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Dublin Zoo, and obviously it would spook people, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, right? When I was in my teens, early 20s, I was like, right, I'm scared shitless. Like, I'd be like shaking. But I don't know. I feel like when I've got like 25 plus, I'm just like, I've adapted this maturity with situations where it's like, I'm more intrigued. I was going to walk down to see what it was. And
yeah, you're that person in the horror film.
I'm the guy in the movie. Dude, I was like, I watch movies, but like, man, why are you walking towards it? But now I'm that fucking guy. I'm like, bro, now I'm that guy. Because I'm like, man, what the fuck is that shit? It's like, I'm so logical. I'm like, man, I want to know what that is.
Yeah, I think when you're in your mid-20s, you think with your logic more than your emotion, and me fear is like that. If there's a bump in the night, I'm like, someone's in this gap trying to kill me. It's not a ghost. Like someone's in this house and they want to kill me or they want to rob something. Like, so that, like, if it had been a few years ago, I'd be like, oh, it's a ghost. If I hide under the covers, he won't see me. Like.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a weird thing, but that's the only one experience I've had in life where I couldn't explain. I was like, I don't know what it is, and I've yet to know. I haven't heard it again. But like there's not that many dogs in my area, man. So like, if I heard anything like it, I would have heard it again. And yeah, it was just a weird experience. The children though, like cheering and playing
next
and stuff.
Level.
Yeah,
and you were awake. You were 100% awake.
Man, I was after a stream, bro. Yeah.
I thought you said you were in bed after it.
No. That's what I'm saying. I was on the PC doing Photoshop, man. I was just sitting there on my desk, and I was like, what the fuck is that noise? So like I was like fully functional. There was no lucid dreaming, no anything that shite. This was like I was awake. Like I texted my girlfriend being like, I just heard this, and she was like, that is so fucked. And I was like, yeah. Yeah.
See, you're at to creep me out because I regard you as a reputable source.
Yeah, no, I
am. But see, that's fucked. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I want these things to happen to me because I want to be scared by ghosts again. I want to believe there's this different layer to the world we don't know about. But at the moment, I'm like, no, I don't. But I want to, like.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's a good mindset to have, though. Even if you don't agree with it or you don't believe in it, that you're still open-minded in a way where you're like, if the experience comes, I'll take it like clean-headed. That's really good, man. With that being said, though, is there anything like that you have that's like a fear? Like, do you fear like ghosts, or do you fear like anything else? What would be something that would really scare you?
Social interactions. No, I'm only messing. Something that's scaring me.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't know. I feel like when I was young, I think it's the same with everyone. When I was younger, I felt like I had no fears, but I feel like I've developed a lot. Like I developed a real fear of heights out of fucking nowhere.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Not like being in a plane or anything like that, or anything, but like I'd be like when I was like going away with my man on the ferry, I'd be hanging off the edge of the thing, looking over the edge, and the idea of standing more than like a meter close to that now freaks me out. But I don't know, like, I like there's nothing like immediate that like gives me any like fear. I think just everyday fear, to be honest with you.
Scared
Just
every
like
day, man.
fucking crocodiles or something, but I'm never gonna have that interaction in my life to say I'd be scared of them. But the idea of them scares me. But like,
Yeah.
not like nothing like. Well, is there anything like you would like any material thing that would
Yeah,
give you like?
yeah, man. For me, dude, like I've such a weird one. I've such an
Mice,
original.
sorry, mice. I don't know why I didn't think
You
about
have one,
mice and
yeah?
rats. Oh,
You
mice.
know what you're
Sorry for interrupting you there. Oh man, do you want to hear a little story?
Yeah,
Oh, bro, whatever it is about mice, I used to get mice in my house sometimes. I was staying in after my nanny passed away, I stayed in hers because they were selling the house. So I was like, all right, free gaff, I get to stay
yeah.
there for a while and all. And oh man, oh the rats. I was oh fuck, it was next. These things were like Jack Russells though. They were big, like they were big. And I'll never. I was after me 12-hour stream that I done in November. Right, I was collect. It was in town, so I was going to collect me board in town. She was out, so I was meeting up with her at that, and I walk out. Oh my god! The thing was running around. It sounded like Mike Tyson was doing jumping jacks outside, bro. This thing was built like a Rottweiler. I shit myself. I was throwing everything at the thing. Just ran away. I had run away about 10 minutes, and I was still throwing stuff in that direction. And there was another time when I was up in I was downstairs editing. My board was upstairs doing college work, and oh man, I walked outside and I seen the thing running down because this was one of these big Georgian houses that used to be with a tenement
Yeah.
building. So there was like 4 floors. Thing was running down, and I was like, I can't say that to her that a rat is at the bin. It'll freak her out. She won't come back.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it to her. And then when I moved back into my ma's, I was having a gargle and I got his head. It was this time, and there was a rat that ran down from where you were in the bedroom. And she goes, I heard scratching on the door, and I thought it was you joking. And I was like, no, that was bleeding fucking Jack Russell going up the stairs there, that trying to get into you.
Yeah. Oh
Anyways,
my
what's yours? Sorry for
god.
interrupting,
No,
but I
no,
forgot.
man.
I think I actually blocked it out of my memory that I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
scared of them that I'm actually like giving myself cognitive dissonance from them.
I've unlocked a different section of your brain now. Give you fears with this conversation. But yeah, mine was aliens. I know it sounds stupid, right? But man, when I was like, I'd say 10 years of age, maybe 11, I was absolutely traumatized, right? Back in the day, my dad was mad for horror movies, so he'd be whacking on horror movies most nights, and he'd be the type of lad to laugh at them. You know what I mean? Where you'd watch and you'd like, have a bollock laughing. But there was one documentary, man, that when you're younger you can't tell the difference. There's this one of this family, right? That's out in the States, and they're basically they're in this house, and it's Thanksgiving, and then suddenly the power goes off. The dad goes to investigate it. He goes into the woods where he sees one of the electrical wires are down, and it's like this bleeding UFO, and there's 2 boys coming out of it, and it's basically an alien abduction movie. But the thing that about it that was like that got to me when I was a kid was, so number one, it wasn't explained what was going on, and number two, it looked like it was filmed on a camera, because it was like Blair Witch. You have the camera, and it's not like a movie. It's like a hand cam kind of thing. So, and at the end of the movie, aliens come into the gaff. One of them looks at the camera goes black, and then it says, if you've seen these people, these are missing, and a phone number. And I'm like, is that the movie? And then it cuts to dark, and I'm like, what was going on?
What was the name of that?
It's called
the McPherson tape?
Yeah.
That fucked with me.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Oh my god. Carl, stop the podcast. You're the only person ever to know that movie natively without me having to show somebody.
Man,
that is incredible.
That fucked with me.
Yeah.
That was like, because they're the ones that get me the most. It's the eerie ones that keep. Bro, I was shaking after this.
Me too.
I was like, I watched that with Terrence Power, like me mate, and we were white as a ghost. And like, we at the time, that was when like I first started smoking, and we were trying to make a rollie, and my hands was like this trying to make a rollie, and we were out the back, and I was like this. I was like, because it leaves you thinking after, and you're like, I didn't really give a fuck. It's so eerie, like, and it's like, it leaves you wondering, and oh man, fucked. That is the most, like, one, that and Hereditary, 2 most fucked films I've ever seen in my life. Really fucking left a mark on me after watching it. Like,
I can appreciate, man, because as I said, you're the only person I've ever known to see that movie. And obviously you watched at a time as well where hand cams and it looked really legit, and it's one of those movies. I don't know if I could show it to somebody today and they'd appreciate it. I remember at my time, at the time I showed it to a mate of mine. I went over to his gaff and put it on. And we were that young, we literally both ran out of the gaff. It got so scary. We literally both, we're in an estate, like we both ran out of the gaff and we were waiting outside till the movie actually finished on its own, and then we walked back in. So it was terrifying. But you know, I was chatting to you earlier in the chat, and I know you were saying about Hereditary. That's a really good as well. But yeah, it's the ones like that, man. Like the hand cameras for me are big. Would you be a fan?
Because it's so like,
yeah.
The less production value makes it so much more realistic.
Yeah.
Especially, I think now more than ever, now everyone has a camera phone and you have a camera everywhere you go. And it's that added bit of realism to it that, like, when it looks that grainy, it makes it so much more real. And you even see, like, if it's on TikTok, you'll see these people who, like, edit videos really well to make it look like, say, like, there's like spaceships or there's whatever, there's natural disasters. And the whole aspect is that they go out their way to like edit it so it looks like it's focusing and unfocusing at certain points, and it's like not stable and stuff. Like they actually put that into editing of an actual stable focus video to give it that edge to make it look like it's like just done on the spot and make it look more real. Like that's what's so terrifying about it.
I was gonna ask you, like, you're describing the movies that I like watching the most. Hand cam movies for me are way higher tier than most of the horror movies. Have you seen Blair Witch? And if you did, what was your kind of reaction to it?
Thought it was very bad. That and Cloverfield, I really hated the two of them. I had really high hopes for Cloverfield, but I could not take to it because everything was, you see the monster's eye for 2 seconds and that's it. And I get why they're trying to leave like it's open to interpretation. It's not. It's a monster destroying the city. I want to see it. Like there's no interpretation. I know what's happening. Show me it. Like that's what bugged me, because I always like seeing the monster and like being able to like appreciate how like fucking eerie and scary they make them look in them and all, and like, I just see an eye looking in a window and then your fucking thing goes out of battery. Fuck off. Like, the Blair Witch, I haven't watched that in a while, but that bit where she has the camera in her face and there's snots going down her face, man, that thought my bleeding. Was that just scary movie, or did that happen in the actual film? Because they took the piss out of the scary movie as well.
I don't know about the snots going down the face, but there's definitely a lot of sweating, a lot of like, you know, close-ups. So it's
close,
it's really up close and personal. When that came out as well with Blair Witch, that was another movie that obviously before, I'm pretty sure I've seen that, but I'm not sure if I've seen that before McPherson. I'm pretty sure I did, but yeah, that kind of got for me the feel of kind of the hand cam movies. And to be fair, they released another Blair Witch after that. Did you see the second one?
Did they? I never even heard of that.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I seen a trailer and I was like, this shit isn't real, is it? And they released another one, and now there's like 2 ones they released. So they released Blair Witch 2 after the first one, and it was shit. It was like a fan-made one for some reason. But some proper producers got behind it and actually made another Blair Witch. And to be fair, it was all right. You actually get to see the witch in it. Spoilers. So it was interesting because, you know, after one movie, you're like, just show me the fucking thing. I want to see it. But I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's definitely not on the level of anywhere near like the McPherson tapes or anything like that. But yeah, no, the hand cam ones are good. Would you like be the type of fella to watch like a horror movie on your own, or would you need people around you?
No, I would. I love them, but there just really hasn't been any that have stuck out to me lately. They've been really fucking bad. Like that Hereditary is like the best one I've seen because it's stuck. Like I don't get, like, I understand when you watch ones where they have like the fear factor of jump scares and stuff like that, but like it loses its touch. I'm into the psychological stuff that gets into your head and makes you think, or stuff that's like overly fucking gruesome as well, because I feel like a lot of films are cutting out. Like, did you watch the Chainsaw Massacre film that just came out?
The new one? No, I've seen the old one. Is the new one any good?
That's one. Yeah, really good, because like I like the gore aspect of stuff, because it feels like a lot of films are leaving that out. Like if something happens, it's like it's off camera or it's behind a closed door and you just hear it. Like I want to see them get that head cut off, because it adds to that whole like like level of fear. Like, and I feel like films haven't been doing it lately for me. Like I would have loved to see Hereditary in the pictures, because I'd say that was like unbelievable. Or Mama, I seen Mama in the pictures. Did you ever see that?
Oh man,
man, that bit when she runs down the hall at the camera.
When it gets man,
the whole thing with Mama was that got me as well, and it was the same with the remake of It as well. that whole now the idea of the uncanny valley where it's just like minutely distorted from looking like an actual
Yeah,
person,
it's
and that's
so
the most
fucking weird.
disturbing thing you can have. Like that's what really got me with it. Was the same because there was someone in it, the picture that comes to life, and it was the same thing. It was a woman, but it was that whole uncanny valley thing. She was just like minutely distorted, but enough to
Yeah,
freak you out. Like,
yeah. It's mad how, like, you know, how far like directors and writers have to go into detail, because like nowadays we're not scared of anything. It's why horror movies are shy. Like if the horror movies today came out in early 2000s, man, we'd be like, oh, that's the best movie I've ever seen. But we've seen everything. We've seen jump scares, and like I think you're onto that really well. I feel like a lot of horror movies nowadays need to depend on distortion. It's like it's just fucking out of the ordinary enough where you question it. Like everybody knows what a jump scare is. Everybody know what a freak looks like, whether it's a fucking zombie or a demon. But when you have that slight distortion, it kind of makes it look odd. But yeah, no, Jesus Christ, the fact you're into horror movies is class, man. It's not very often you hear people like that into it.
would I be able to leave for 2 seconds to go to Jack's?
Go on, like go
I'm the
on.
fastest. I'm the fastest pisser in Ireland. Check this out.
No, check this out. But chat as well, if you have any questions for AwfulGas, let us know. And do us a favor as well, if you're listening on Spotify, give him a follow on TikTok, on Twitch. You know, he's only new to the content creation scene, but man, he's had such an impact on it already, and such a funny, positive character. But yeah, we'll definitely be looking for some questions. So if anybody in chat has any, let us know. I'm actually so surprised that Carl knew about the McPherson tape. The only person to date I've ever met who knew that movie, which is really. Oh my god, he's back already! Jesus Christ, you are the fastest pacer. Holy shit!
That was less than 5 seconds. Like,
wow. Okay,
I stick by this moral. The shorter the flute, the shorter the track. Comes out quicker.
Oh my god. Right. Well, you know, going back to your content and the stream, which I was just telling everybody about. You know, it's a big switch to go from the likes of TikTok, you know, short form content, to being live on Twitch. It's literally the exact opposite. You're talking about short form to literally being live over time and having your real life pauses and your real life interactions. I know you've had a lot of conversations as well, and you've kind of jumped into the Irish scene, and you've already made a name for yourself essentially. What's your experience being an Irish creator in the scene right now?
Like honestly, 90%, 99% positive. It's been really fucking well. People adapted to it really well, and there's, especially on TikTok, there's definitely an attitude towards working class Dublin people and people from, like, you know, maybe rural areas have their notions about working class people from Dublin. Like every second comment was fucking Dole merchant at a time, and it was like,
Yeah.
it's all the same stuff, taking jabs at you for being unemployed. And what will get to me the most is I'd be reading them comments when I'd be in work at 6 a.m, and I'm like, that's what it really bugged me with. And you know, at the start, it was me making videos for them to be funny and for a bit of crack in them and stuff. And it turned into something else where, you know, it became something that's bigger than me. It's a lot bigger than me now. And I'm mainly going towards changing the narrative around working class Dublin people. And I'm showing how productive. I only had working class Dublin people in my videos for a long time because I really wanted to put on display how like witty, humorous, and quick and smart they genuinely are. And my whole experience of growing up has been around them. And the only reason I'm able to make a career out of my humor is because I've been brought up by these people, and I've been given the thick skin to have quick comebacks. And it might not have been great at the time, but it's really benefiting me now. And I really wanted, and I'm having so many young fellas who sound like me reaching out to me saying, oh, I want to take a job at streaming or making videos, because I thought that there'd be this wall in front of me when I started doing them that no one is going to understand what I'm saying. I'm like, people from Ireland aren't even going to understand what I'm saying. That's like how fuck it, like, I can't think of the blatant word for that, but like how like separated I felt. Like that was a big reason why the subtitles went, or although the subtitles added a, you know, like a good aspect to the videos, it was mainly rooted in insecurity of people not understanding what you're saying. And now having grown, I'm always going to get that stuff. I'm always going to get them comments. They're the things you have to take. When you're like, I wouldn't regard myself as a public figure, but like when you're out there in the public eye and you put stuff out there for it to be like critiqued, whether it be good or bad, you're gonna have one side of the coin or the other, and
Yeah.
it's 99% landed on the positive side. And the messages I get from people, and like you'd even know yourself, you get people who reach out to you who say, I was in a bad mood today. Your videos helped me. Your stream helped me. I
Yeah.
want to take a jab at people who are like working class areas where I'm from now want to start doing it. And I wouldn't say that I was the cause of all that, but I have seen a lot of an increase in people doing my style of videos who are from my area since I started doing them. Which, you
Yeah.
know, it might not directly be linked to me, but maybe there's a knock-on effect where I done it and someone else felt that they could do it, and then a person after that, and there's a domino effect. And that's what I'm trying to get at, because you don't hear people like me on RTE, or you don't hear people like me on Virgin Media, and that's what I'm trying to push into that, because everyone knows themselves TV is dead. So it's a good time to pick up the slack where TV is leaving and get our name out there, get our
Yeah.
voice out there. And it's one of the things that I'm most passionate about, and something that I really, out of all things that get to me or offend me, people being like blatantly classist towards people they don't know based on their accent, that's something that really bugs me and gets to me. And it's one of the biggest things that I'm striving for, is to just get what I sound like out there, because like I'm one of fucking millions of people who sound like me and who are scared to go into these fields because they feel like they're just going to be like outwardly shunned by everybody, when it wasn't the case,
Mm.
because that was my view on it. And you are going to get them comments if you are going to do it, and you're going to get people saying horrible stuff to you and all, but you're going to get somebody who tells you, like, I had people telling me they were watching me videos when they were sectioned and put in a psych ward, and you know that me videos helping with that. And if I get
Yeah.
100 comments calling me a doll merchant, but I get one saying that this helped me when I was at this certain point in my life, then I'm going to keep doing it and keep pushing for that, because there's so many reasons to keep doing it. And it's the most positive validation you can get when you can actively see the content you're making a difference for other people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good way of looking at it, man. I'm gonna get into TikTok. Obviously, I think a lot of the comments are incredibly negative, but I definitely would have been one of these people. I'd say a couple of years ago, before getting into content, where I would have had this perception of you're saying of like your what I call like a strong Dublin accent, and what I perceive to be a person with that accent, and I'd make a false assumption just off it alone. And it was only until I got into content and meeting so many more people that I seen that, like, I understood that. I was like, okay, I understand why people are going to have a bad look at this, because I did as well. But obviously you can't just assume until you actually get to meet people and know people, and people like yourself. And another example of that, another creator I know who I feel like has broken boundaries for me getting to know him is Just Man Up Alan. He has so many funny videos out there, and he's a witty in a way that now I can really appreciate the likes of you and him. Very quick with the one-liners and the jokes, and I feel like I get the whole gig now more than I would have a couple of years ago through meeting you kind of creators, which is fantastic. So I feel like that goes with a lot of things, though. That's only my own personal thing, but I feel like it's very easy to judge somebody from the get-go, and to make, you know, your perceived notions already, and kind of be stuck in that way. But you don't really know, obviously, until you get to know somebody. And like we were saying earlier, that's why Twitch is so good. But you get to
and I think the most important thing is what you just have to say there yourself. It's like, it's recognized, and it's not even. I wouldn't blame anybody outside of Dublin of having that view on people from Dublin, because that's the narrative that was sold in, like, when we were growing up. Telly was obviously our only source of media, and the shows that RT put out, they were funny. But anytime someone was an addict and something, it was always a North Dubliner. Anytime someone was a thief or they were a criminal, it was always a North Dubliner. You might get the odd one with Limerick. They took stabs at Limerick for a while because they kind of shot up with crime and stuff. But the way that I see it is, right, and especially now more than ever, I think like the economic position that Ireland is in is that Ireland is like richer than it's ever been. Dublin is becoming an actual capital city now, instead of just being a big town. And there's a lot of, you know, I think people outside of them, and they might think that it's like, oh yeah, but like you can get stuff ordered to your house, so you can get taxis whenever you want, you can get all this stuff and all, but they lose sight of the fact that it's not just the city. Like, this is my hometown, and I have to watch all this shit happening because of it, because Dublin is like a cash cow for the rest of the country. And it's, at the moment, it's definitely being hard out by what they're doing to it. They're fucking, like, the whole thing, obviously the fucking rental or the housing crisis is like nationwide, but they're really focusing on Dublin, and I'm seeing everything that happens when a city becomes a big capital city, like with the crime that comes into it, the drug problems, like drug problems, mental health, violent crime. It's an everyday thing. Like, and it wouldn't be like anywhere in Dublin. Drugs is a big problem. Violent crime around where I'm from is not really as much. It's not that far from me. It's like a stone throw from me though. But you watch all these other aspects coming into what it takes to make your hometown a city, and it's, I love Dublin with all my heart, but I want to be anywhere but here now, because it just does not suit my it doesn't suit my morals for what it's turning into. And it's hard to watch a place that your whole life is being constructed in turn into something like that. And I can understand why, people are always saying like people from Dublin are like, like Dalmers. It's not because I've never being sold the image of someone who's a doll merchant that didn't have a Dublin accent ever. Like, even
Yeah,
if I think of
yeah,
a doll merchant, I think of someone from Dublin, because
yeah,
that accent coincides with what that image is of someone who was on the dole. Like, or Limerick, like I was saying as well, Limerick kind of got jobs taken out of them for a while, and
yeah.
some parts of Cork as well. But any big city, it's gonna happen to, like, you're always gonna have a fucking farmer on your back.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true though. I feel like, especially with Irish society, you kind of see all the negative things with a Dublin accent. I think that's it's very true, man. And as I said, it's still major props to you, man, of kind of breaking that stereotype and to show that you can break through these backgrounds. It happens with all cultures, man. Realistically, you have cultures from all over the world who have similar situations and kind of coming through it. But I feel like you've done a really good job in it, and I think, like as I said, even for the likes of me and for a lot of other people, I'm sure as well, that they perceive Dublin people in a much better light, especially like knowing you on I feel like somewhat of a personal level, chatting to you on streams and guys like I said, like Just Man Ballin, definitely changed my mind on the whole thing as well. So I feel like it's really good to have the opposite side of that stereotype and kind of show that. But with that being said, yeah, it's you're not been alien to success, man. You've done so great so far, and even on Twitch, as I said, you've come really into the scene. You've done a great job. With that being said, collaboration is a massive deal. You did a lot of collaborating already. You're talking about doing a YouTube series with Pistol Bob, going around the country to haunted locations and stuff, and even on your charity stream, you had myself on, a load of other people as well. But recently, you were doing a stream with Just the Minx. I think you were playing Lunch Lady. That must have been a great experience. I mean, Just the Minx, obviously massive Irish creator. What was it like playing with Minx?
It was really like, she's like really down to earth, and I didn't really expect that. I think that you kind of think people get away from themselves when they reach that level. I only realized very recently how fucking big 2 million followers on Twitch is. Like, it's like unbelievable. Like, it's
Yeah.
I done the same thing as I done before this podcast. I had a Jemison and I went in. Oh, well, no, I didn't do this with you. I wouldn't say this about you. But like, I went in and I was sitting there before. I was waiting for the comment on Discord, and literally what I was saying to me head, I was like, "She's just some culty. She's just some culty. She's just." That's what I had to do. It. I had to bring myself back down to that level, because I was freaking myself out at the idea of it and all. But once we went into it, it was so fucking like, it was so natural. It was so nice. I noticed she started getting more Irish as well as we went on, because she hadn't obviously been playing with a lot of Irish people.
Yeah.
Like simple things, like instead of saying "my," she'd start saying "me" and stuff, and like I'd notice little things like that. But bounced off her really well. She's really like, she's great, very fucking funny young one, like, and really nice to get along with. She gave me a good like push with stuff like that as well, because like I was just some cunt on TikTok at the end of the day, and she reached out to me because she followed me on TikTok in September, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be pushing it and texting her saying, "Oh, do you want to do a video or something like that?" But she actually reached out to me, and I was like, "Boys, this is not happening." I have a blue tick in me comments asking me to do a video or a stream, but it was fucking great. Like, I really fucking enjoyed it. Like, and it was it was a mad experience, but it was nice to break that barrier, because I can only hope that in future it will become more of a normal thing to be collaborating with people of that level, not necessarily that level, but obviously of a much higher level than what I'm at, and it's made it a lot less intimidating, because at the end of the day, and I think one of the biggest experiences I've taken from being a creator is, I think before, when you're a consumer of content, you really do hold creators on a certain pedestal, and I
Yeah.
think when you're in that circle of people, you realize how human they actually are, and how they are just people just pursuing something. And I think especially now, I'm watching so many people like like Bob, Captain Sexy, Russia, like basically like your whole roster of people that you've had on. I'm watching these people in their infant stage of what is going to be huge for them because they're very fucking talented. Like watching Captain Sexy stream is literally like watching a TV show. The production
Yeah.
value in that is insane. Like I can't even wrap my head around how he does it. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And like with Russia, I've never seen someone with Russia, someone who's so good at communicating with their community and stuff, and so seamlessly doing that. And I've only realized since my chat has started becoming a bit more busy how difficult it is to keep track of stuff sometimes and
Yeah.
stick with stuff like that. And with Bob, I think Bob has one of the. I genuinely think Bob would wipe the floor with anyone on the scene now if he was like. I know he's having a hard time himself, so I wouldn't like um I wouldn't hold it against him or anything like that, but I think out of any, I think he is like one of the most potential I've ever seen in a streamer. His
Mm.
personality, I think, do you know, I genuinely think, and I hope he's watching the bollocks. I think that one thing he's missing out, and I think he focuses on doing games a lot, but I think his just chatting parts are the most entertaining parts of his stream. I think he
Yeah.
could, if he could, was able to do that, you'd stick around for ages. I just listen to the cunt talk. He's just so good at bouncing off, keeping things entertaining. He's very fucking talented, that young fella. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you know, through collaborating and stuff, obviously get to see these guys, but even watching them on the forefront, like you're saying, the likes of Bob Rusher, Captain Sexy, and some other guys, it's like you can tell there's potential there, you know, long term, like you were saying. So it's nice as well to feel like as well you're part of something early, like you said, where it's like the early stage of this process. And with that being said, you know, you've collaborated with all these guys and even the likes of Just the Minx. Is there any other creators that you think you would really gel with or you'd like to collab with?
yeah, like obviously it sounds out there. I'd love to play with Jacksepticeye though. Like honestly,
Yeah.
that is like that's everyone's fucking dream. But I genuinely feel like I could get good crack out of him or like Nogla or something. I'm really geared towards Irish creators, and I have been like a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to on this podcast the past few weeks is definitely I've taken a lot from it, and I feel like I have kind of been, you know, perpetuating the whole Irish thing. I think there definitely
Mm.
is a limit to where it comes capping yourself. But all of the content I consume now is Irish content. Like after lockdown, there was so much of it on offer, and I really don't watch like American or English streamers or YouTubers. That YouTubers I would, or TikTokers I would, but when it comes to streaming, I don't know any English streamers and I don't know any American ones because I just
Yeah.
don't watch them. Like, and it's the whole time thing as well. Like, it's hard to watch them when they're like in a completely different time zone. Like,
Yeah.
but
I know I'm the same. I definitely kind of put my cards a lot closer to home, like with my viewing time at least. You know what I mean? If you're on a Russia or Bob or, you know, whoever, I'm definitely prioritizing the Irish kind of creators. But at the same time, it's like, you know, Ireland's still new to content creation. You know what I mean? Like general media is barely only picking this up over the last, I'd say maybe 9 months or so. So I feel like there's a long way to go, but you know, I feel like a lot of the creators that are there now, including yourself, set up the whole scene to what it's gonna be, to what it's potentially gonna be. You know what I mean? I feel like in the next 5 years' time, there's barely gonna be one, you know, person who is like between like the age of 13 and even 20 odd who doesn't know about Twitch. So I feel like setting the kind of the pre now of the creators and setting the content and setting the standard now is very important kind of going forward.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And like even like what you were saying there about it's all about new generations coming in and being like tech savvy and understanding the
Mm.
internet and stuff. Like, do you remember like early on, like with Facebook, it was rare to see a post that had like 1,000 likes, and 1,000 likes was like insane
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's how little people were on it. And now like 10 million likes on TikTok is like a normality because there's that many people who are like tech aware and know how to use it and are like invested in social media. And I think it's definitely about like grabbing that kind of like, you know, I think that generally when, yeah, like depending on the content that you make, I think you do grab a certain age group at a certain point and you try grow with them and hold them and take people on in that age group over the
Mm.
course of the time. But it's just nuts seeing social media what it's turned into, like from a time where, you know, going on social media was something you done when you came home and went on your computer, and now it's everywhere, and now it's so like blown up, like in comparison to what it used to be. Like I remember I was seeing like fucking uni lad with like 1,000 likes on Facebook, and I was like, there's
Yeah.
that many people on Facebook, like, and it was mind blowing to me. Like it's. But I think it's definitely worth like fucking being aware to how much of an audience you potentially could have. And I've always worried about. I said my two biggest worries about creating about the algorithm was that it would be really inaccurate and not find anyone, or it'd be really accurate and find everyone at one time, and then I'd hit a peak, and then that would be it, and I would have no new people. And that's still a
Yeah.
fear of mine that of you're gonna hit that roof where has the algorithm been really, really good and found every single person that
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
what I do? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural fear though of like selling the whole like Irish thing. Like we all say, like, you know, there's always going to be that cap to it in some way, shape, or form. But you know, like you got to write it for the time that's there at the same time. You know what I mean? You got to, if that's your natural audience as well, you got to run with it. I had a comment in chat earlier that I'm going to run into now. I know I'll lose if I asked it. He was asking, do you have any plans for IRL content like going forward? Obviously, you have that series with Bristol Bob, but is there anything on your terms you're thinking of possibly doing or pursuing?
yeah, I have a few. I have a few ideas written down. It's a very fucking new experience doing it in front of a camera, though. It's very new to me, like, and
Yeah.
it's something I'm just gonna have to desensitize myself to, because I know realistically, the kind of vibe I wanted to go with YouTube was kind of like PewDiePie's approach, where it's gaming sometimes and it's completely other different stuff other times. And I think it's such a because you have a balance, you have something for everybody there, and I think it works so well doing that. And I think you find a lot of YouTubers who they solely rely on like the gaming stuff, or else they have a second channel for the other stuff. But I want like the whole AwfulGas thing to be an integration of the two. That here's like funny, like here's a funny video from when I'm playing VR, but the next video is like, oh, I'm roasting every county in Ireland, or like I'm eating at worst rated places or like best rated
Yeah.
places and stuff like that. Because I feel now I do feel like nearly every idea for a video has been created. I think it's just your spin on it that is what's
Yeah.
important now. Like, because I don't think there's that many original ideas floating around anymore with the amount of time and people who are in that industry who are like really fucking good independent thinkers. I think everyone has thought of everything now. I think it's just your own spin on it. Like, I don't think there's anything you can do now that someone hasn't done before, but it's your spin on it and how you approach it, which is going to be what's unique to it, not the actual the basis of the video, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. The music industry is a really good example of that, man. How many chords do you hear over and over again? You're like, man, I know that one. Or and even people are getting into legal battles over half of this stuff when you like, they're not directly copying it, but it's like they heard it and then it's in their brain and they make it into a video. And same can be applied to like the YouTube, where it's like you need to put your own spin on it. And at the end of the day, like I was saying earlier about that guy I watched doing fucking Minecraft, man, making a leading Ender Dragon or some shit in real life. I give a shite about him, man. The video was so entertaining. His spin and the way he talked to the camera was something spectacular. So I'm gonna be studying that shit over the next while and definitely learning how to do that because I feel like that's definitely needed.
It's down to how easy it is to consume. It's not generally the
Yeah.
content. It's if you make it something that's easy to consume, people are gonna watch it. Like even the same with that. It could be out or them bleeding slime videos as well. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about slime. But when you're on TikTok, they'll have a story time over it, and I'm really into that. But like I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah.
into the slime as well somehow, and I don't want to admit to it. I'm like, I'm here for the story, but I kind of like how that bubble popped a second ago now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's so man, it's so true. And to be honest, I think it's fair to say. Now I don't think anybody in the history of any predictions, and no matter what you are, if you're bleeding, I don't know if you're what's it called, a psychic or whatever. I don't think anybody could have predicted that TikTok actually developed YouTube content because the short term and the short form like bled over to YouTube, and people realized that you need to be quick and snappy with it, and so many YouTube channels are now adapting to that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the same like algorithm. It's just obviously it's a different length, and I think the attention span to YouTube, I think just because when people go to YouTube, I think they know that they're gonna have to have their attention longer than they would TikTok.
Yeah,
So you might get an extra, but it's literally seconds in the difference. For you need to make something happen like every like 7 seconds to keep people involved in it.
yeah,
On TikTok, it's like every 2 seconds you need something happening to keep people involved. Like, and like you can like I said, if you like you said there, you can even see by YouTube content. There's no silent bits in videos unless it's like a build up to something comedic or like acting like that. But
Yeah,
there's no gaps in what they're saying. The cuts are like literally to the point of where they stop talking to where they start, and it's bang, bang, bang. It's just out there
yeah,
non-stop. And it's but that is what content is gonna be at the end of the day. Like we're so we were definitely you're definitely conditioned into like even I yourself, I'm going through TikTok. I won't stay around on a video for 3 seconds if it doesn't pull me in by then. Like
yeah, yeah. It's true.
and when there's so much more on offer, like and there's like there's like it's definitely a saturated market. So that's why it's like important to make your stuff like proper like bang, bang, bang to keep people involved and like especially with YouTube. I took that when I started doing YouTube. I took that whole idea from it that there's no gaps, there's no bits where like even at like half a second gap can make it sound shite if you're making
Yeah,
a joke
yeah.
out of it or something like that. So I think it's like from making TikToks first, it definitely made me well adapted to making YouTube videos. But it's obviously spread out over a longer period of time, which is like easier to kind of deal with, like you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. It definitely is something that for any YouTubers going forward, or anybody who wants to pursue YouTube, you have to take that into consideration. You can't just do your standard 20-minute video where you're like, there's an introductory, you're like, hey everybody, welcome into the video today. It's none of that, man. You're like, today we're doing this, here we go, and you're fucking in there. There's nothing else to be said. One more question. I'll pick one more from chat. I seen this earlier. Somebody asked Carl about streaming and making content. How do you keep yourself motivated to constantly do this?
Um, Honestly, my biggest motivation for this is like I'm at a point now where like I have I have no choice but to succeed in this. I have no other allies. I have no other options. Like I need to make this work. I haven't got a choice, and I love doing it. But my biggest drive is that like I'm 25 now, and I have like savings there for the house now. Whatever, it's not enough in today's current market to do on my own, and I
Yeah.
really need to make something out of this. Like my biggest drive is that I have no fallback. Like, and I know every day when if I don't want to make a video or like I'm not feeling up to stream, and sometimes it's not an option not to. It's like I have
Mm,
to make this work. Like whether it's I make a career out of doing YouTube and I make my own brand out of it, or else it gets me into the right circle to where I'm being involved in some sort of production and making something. I really like
mm,
before I started doing videos, because I was talking to you earlier about like I had issues with my mental health, so I was reading into a lot of psychologists, and one that really stood out to me was Carl Jung, and he had this whole idea of the inner child and finding your inner child and finding what you really liked doing when you were a child and what actually gave you like visceral happiness with no conditions or anything. And
yeah.
I found that creating was I loved doing art when I was younger, and I loved having something that I could show and let people look at, or I could look back and appreciate like after making it. And then that's when I got into creating. I kind of just went in like I was meant to go into. I'd done a college course because I didn't finish school, so I done like a FETAC thing where it was a Trinity Access course, and I
Yeah.
wanted to do psychology because of my own experience of mental health. And I'd done everything by the book. I got straight A's, everything. There was 2 places in Trinity, and it went down to percentages. I didn't get it, and it was when I started creating, and I'm like, right, if I'm gonna do this, then I have to go in like all guns blazing. Like I can't like I have to work 10 times harder than the next person, and I have to stick out. I have to have the subtitles, so I have a niche. I have to have like Dublin people or Irish people sounding a different light, so I have a niche. And I'm like, this is realistically, this is the next like rest. This is the rest of my life now,
Yeah.
and my only option is for this to work out and for this to be good. And ultimately that's down to me at the end of the day, and that's down to me getting out of bed and doing it regardless of how I'm feeling or anything. I'm really looking at things in the grand scheme of things now, which creating has been the first thing probably in my life that has made me have a plan a year ahead. And I'm
Yeah.
always a year ahead. I'll always have something in place a year ahead. Like there was no one that I knew anyways in Ireland that was doing what I was doing with the whole subtitles videos, and I was doing one video a week of that for a long time until I started streaming, and I wanted a bit more balance with it. But um
Yeah.
that would definitely be my motivate. Like every day is my motivation for that, and then everyone has their own motivations. Like I want to like Obviously I want my own like house. I want to fucking like retire me man. My goals are like huge. Like I'm shooting for the stars with this stuff and all. But like it's better to like fucking shoot for the stars and like shoot like hit a little lower than like reaching for the sky and like never actually achieving what you actually could.
Honestly, I think that's fantastic advice, man. And one thing there that I'm really happy to hear is you're of the exact mindset that I feel like I have now as well. And it's like you've nowhere else to go. This is it. You got to put all your eggs into it. You got to put the time in, and you got to have discipline. Like you were saying, you don't have that choice not to make this content or go live. And that's what separates the part-timers from the guys who actually want to pursue it and actually make it, man. So I think it's really good to hear that. And I think anybody in chat can take from that. It's where it's like, I always say it, if you want it to be your full-time job, you got to treat it like a full-time job. Even if you don't have that time, if you're doing part-time work, whatever hours you have, you got to make them count. And like you were saying, like find a niche, whether it's through your comedy or through the way you edit videos. It's kind of all part and parcel. So I think any upcoming creators who are listening or watching right now on Twitch, they can definitely take from that. But listen, Carl, I think we could talk all day, but before I let you go, I have something for you here. So listen, you're the king of Irish slang and wit, but how really good are you? So I have an Irish slang test here to see if you can nail down all of these phrases and what they actually mean. So are you ready for the challenge?
I'm ready.
All right, okay. Now you're lucky here now, right? So you've 18 in total. I'll give you 3 options for each one. You just gotta tell me which is the right one. So listen, if you're listening into this right now and you're not Irish, this is gonna be really, really good information to take in. So if you're ever watching AwfulGas' stream, you're gonna know what he's talking about. Right. So what does this word mean? First word, Carl, is banjaxed. Does it mean annoying, late, or broken?
Broken, like fucked.
Of course, that is the correct answer. All right, on to the next one. Sorry, my phone's going off. Carl, what does scuttered mean?
Drunk.
You haven't nailed down.
Oh, sorry, I didn't give you a chat. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good with it. You're good with it. I'll allow it. It is, of course, drunk, and your options were tired or angry. So scuttered means drunk. You're fairly quick with it now.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'll sit back.
No, listen, you go for it. Right, next one. All right, here's an interesting one. He's a real Mayfainer. What does this mean? He's a real Mayfainer. I'm going to give you 3 options. Does it mean he's uneducated, he's selfish, or he's a go-getter? He's a real Mayfainer. Yeah.
Ah, fuck. Selfish?
You want to lock in selfish?
Wait, what were the other 2?
So he's uneducated, he's selfish, or he's a go-getter?
No, uneducated. You little Mayfainer. That sounds like a stab at you being uneducated to me.
You're going to go uneducated?
Yeah.
It is selfish, unfortunately. Mayfain means myself in Irish, or myself, so that's kind of where it comes from.
Oh, how the fuck? Oh, you know I left school early.
Right. We're going to keep going. All right. What is a press? Is it a typewriter, a computer, or a cupboard?
Cupboard.
Yes, of course, is the correct answer.
Yeah.
All right. Easy one there. All right.
How many times I heard you didn't shut the presses in my gavel? If I didn't have that in my vocabulary, I'd be a dead man by now.
Right. All right. Next one here for you is, I made a hames of it. Does that mean I made the best of it, I was creative with it, or I made a mess of it?
I made a mess of it.
You locking it in?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's the correct answer. I made a hames of it means I made a mess of it. You did it well there. Right. Next one. It's a common one in the country, is Bior. Does it mean boy, cow, or woman?
A woman, you little Bior, yeah. That's not even I haven't heard of half of this. You're going to get the lingo of it.
You're doing well. All right. What does gas mean? Funny, weird, or terrifying?
Oh, God.
I wonder, yeah. But of course, funny, yeah, is the correct answer there. All right, next one. She's a header. What does the phrase she's a header mean? Does it mean she's athletic, she's brainy, or she's crazy?
Crazy. No job.
No job, yeah.
Head the ball, like.
You're right, it does mean she's crazy. Very, very good. Right. What does slagging mean? Messing bunking off or lying?
Messing.
Messing is the correct answer, of course. Slagging, yeah, giving back and forth banter really is what that means.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be more shit talk to me.
It is shit talking, yeah.
I see you're going PC with it.
Next one here is, right, you wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating potatoes. All right, what does that mean? Does it mean he loves potatoes, he's good looking, or he's messy? You wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating potatoes.
I would think that's like. Wait, what was the second one?
You wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating potatoes. Does it mean he loves potatoes, he's good looking, or he's messy?
Oh, he's good looking. Yeah. No, I don't know where I was going with that. It's something more like explicit in my mind.
No, you're right. No. Good looking is correct. Right.
Yeah.
All right, next one. What does shift mean? Does it mean run, sneak around, or kiss?
Kiss.
Like an old shift, yeah.
I never heard that before. That's a country thing. We call it meeting.
Yeah, no, I know. Meeting and shift, it's like where Dublin meets the country. Yeah, meeting was a Dublin one and shift was the country one.
Yeah.
All right, next one. We're 12 here at 18. Next one is yoke. What does yoke mean? Now, let me give you the three definitions, Carl, because I know in Dublin, yokes are completely different. Right?
Yeah, that's it. I can tell you.
So, does it mean TV remote, a thing, or couch?
A thing. There should be a fourth option on that.
I knew I had to say something before that. All right. That was good. You got it right. All right, on to the next one. She's a holy show. What does that mean? She pretends to be religious. She's holier than thou, or she's a mess.
She's a mess. Locking
it in?
Yep.
All right, good man. It is. She's a mess. She's a holy show. She is a mess.
You made a holy show of yourself.
All right, here's the next one. I got to be careful with this word. Acting the maggot. What does acting the maggot mean? Does it mean being foolish, growing up, or getting out of work?
So you just added a whole narrative to that didn't exist.
I'm just saying, you twitch, you gotta be careful, man.
I couldn't even focus. Sorry, that was the three options. It just threw me off. No one was thinking that. Like,
acting the maggot. What does it mean? Yeah. Being foolish, growing up, or getting out of work?
Being foolish.
Being foolish, yeah, of course, being foolish. Fairly handy one there now, right? Couple left here. Now, next one. What does codding mean? Does it mean laughing, joking, or fishing? You're codding. Joking?
Yeah, joking. You're codding me, like, yeah.
All right, yeah, good man. You got that? Oh, you got that. That is the correct answer. Now, this is an interesting one. I'll see what you say here. She lamped herself. Right, she lamped herself. Right, what does it mean? Does it mean she bought a house, she got engaged, or she fell over? She lamped herself. Lamped. She lamped herself.
There's something coming to mind, but it's none of them. Fuck. She lamped herself.
Yeah, she bought a house, she got engaged, or she fell.
She fell.
She fell, yeah? You lock it in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it is she fell, yeah. She lamped herself.
She lamped herself.
I feel I feel like it's one where you just add an ED to the word and you're like, you buckled yourself or things like that. I feel like it's one of those words. Now the next one. Now, this one is one that I definitely don't have a clue, so you're gonna have to tell me, Carl. A mog. M-O-G, a mog. What's a mog? Is it a posh person, a farmer, or a fool?
A posh person?
You locking it in?
Yeah.
It is not. It's a fool. Apparently, it's a fool. I haven't heard that one before. So I'd say it's a new one.
I was thinking of like a snob or something.
Yeah. It sounds like it could be. All right. Well, listen, we're on the last one, Carl. I think you've done very well so far. You've only got caught out in, I'd say, maybe two. Very, very little ones. But last one here should be a handy one for you. What does your one mean? Your one. Does it mean the right direction, a woman, or to be correct?
A woman.
A woman is, of course, the correct answer. So well done, Carl. I believe you scored, was it, I think 16? I got 16.
I think,
yeah, 16 out of 18. Very, very good, to be fair. There was some dodgy ones thrown in there.
I'm happy with that.
No, I mean, look, you answered the question. Are you the king of slang? You are. That's the definite answer there. There's a couple of spanners thrown in the works there, but you answered them. But listen, Carl, honestly, it's been a fantastic podcast. As I said, you know, even on a personal note, man, really good to chat to you. Really good to hear your background with streaming, your story, you know, coming from all the negatives, turning into positive. Even your connection with that movie, man, the McPherson tapes, man, that's gonna stick with me for life, man. You're the only person I know that's ever gonna know that movie. So
we'll talk more about that off stream sometime.
I'm telling you, we'll do a watch along again, me and you hugging a pillow. But no, honestly, Carl, it was so good having you on, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did, but as well, I wanted to say as well, because I noticed a lot, like I've had a lot of nice things said to me at this podcast and all, but just with yourself, Garda, I think for what you do for the Irish scene and all, I think people, like, you know, it's obviously not going to get mentioned when the person being interviewed, but I always, like, I know everyone has their own comfort streamers and stuff like that, people that they enjoy watching. Like, if I'm going to sleep and you're on, I am buzzing because I get to watch that. And like simple things like that, I think, like, even with myself, the amount of help that you've given me and the help that you give to other people in your chat and stuff like that is absolutely remarkable. Like, and you're a real, like, you know, you're a really fucking good person to look at when you want to know what fucking hard work looks like. And it's nice to have someone like that in the Irish scene who's so invested in everybody else as much as themselves. And you're definitely a person who stands by the moral of, like, a new ship should, like, a new wave should raise all ships, and you try to bring everyone up with you. And that's really refreshing, because I feel like a lot of people try to stand on heads to get to the point where you're at. And it's nice to see someone who bases the whole algorithm off kindness and helping other people do really well. And it's nice to see someone like you in the position that you're in. So I just want to say that everyone's been saying nice things about everyone else on it, but you as a person and as a streamer, I think what you do is absolutely incredible and amazing. And I'm in awe of how you do it and how you fit these into the same hours as the day as everybody else. That's really, like, it's incredible. And as a streamer, especially as a streamer, because it's something that's recent to me, you'd definitely be someone that I look up to in that regard, because you're a step ahead of everybody else in any fucking thing. Like, when it comes to hard work or just getting the hours in and getting yourself out there and starting projects, like, it's remarkable. Like, honestly, it really is. Yeah, no, honestly, dude, I really appreciate that. I'm flattered hearing that from you, man, not gonna lie. But look, you know, I've been a firm believer of the Irish scene, and even from when I started, dude, I was like, man, I want Irish creators to grow together. And like what you're saying, I feel like a common mentality is, like, you know, step on this guy, step on that guy to get where you want to go. And yeah, I don't know, man, I just feel like there's a lot of great guys on the scene that can really grow and have potential. So if I can be a part of that process, man, I'm happy to be there, man. So no, I really appreciate that, man. That's a very nice compliment. And look, listen, as I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you guys have enjoyed as well. A very nice end there. That was a very nice end to the podcast there. Lovely comments about both of us there. Going off with fat heads.
Yeah, going off with fat heads, man. I can't wait now. Go downstairs. I'm going to trip down the stairs now. Watch head go over me. But now listen, thank you everybody for watching. Really, really hope you enjoyed this episode of How Are You Getting On. He's been AwfulGas. I've been TheGaraShow. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Good luck.